Testing this one.
So that's Isaac. That's my husband. He checked you in here. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We're going to start. Now, before I jump into this evening's festivities, before I begin with my story, I have to tell you my story and what to expect. I need to ask you to do a couple of things for me. Okay? This is going to be easier for some of you than others. The first thing that I need you to do for me is to walk into this evening with no expectations. Please, no expectations. A lot of folks come to these situations expecting things out of psychics, out of mediums. Some people here might have even seen psychics or mediums. Some people here might have seen group readings. Some people here, God forbid, might have seen psychics on TV. Okay? So, I'm not Teresa Caputo. Okay? So if that's what you're expecting, that's not who I am. Okay? So the other thing that I need you to do for me is to walk into this evening with a sense of humor. Okay? Like I said, some of you guys more of that than others, but I need you to walk into this evening with a sense of humor. It's really important that these group readings that I do are fun and we laugh. It's really important. So you're going to have some of that this evening. Now, if you can do that for me, if you can leave your expectations at the door, and you can walk into the next couple of hours with a sense of humor, I'm going to make a promise to you. I won't be able to read everybody in this room. It's just impossible. That's the nature of a group reading. But what I do make is a promise to you that if you can hang out for the next couple of hours, I'm going to bring you the secret to life. The secret to life. I know, it's a bold statement. I'm a bold guy. But let me tell you what the secret to life is. The secret to life, as far as I know it to be, is peace. Do you guys want peace in your life? Do you want peace in your heart?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. This is going to be an interactive evening, so you can interact with me. That's what I'm looking for. So, we're going to try it one more time. Do you want peace in your life?
Yes.
All right, thank you for that. Okay, the next piece of this is strength. Do you guys want strength?
Yes.
To be the strongest version of yourself and your families? Okay. The next thing, courage. To face the things you fear. You want courage? Okay. Final piece to the secret of life is what I call the icing on the cake, self-respect. You guys want self-respect?
Yes.
Right. Peace, strength, courage, self-respect. We're going to bundle that all together, and I'm going to deliver to you all the secret to life at the end of this evening. But we're going to kind of build that as we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this handkerchief out of my pocket. It's a little North Country trick that I've got. I'm going to dab my forehead. Not because I'm nervous, but because I was just dancing out back. I get ready, okay? I get ready to listen to music. And I was listening to Leaple's Bad Hell. Okay? So that's the way that I need you to kind of manage your expectations. I'm not out there in like a lotus position listening to meditative music. I'm listening to the Bad Hell, right? So that's how I get ready. And again, that's how I'm going to ask you guys to manage your expectations. Now, in terms of those expectations, here's how my story starts. I was born in 1979 in a little town about an hour away from here called Lancaster, New Hampshire. Anybody know where Lancaster is? Okay, that's pretty close by. It's where the fair is and all that. My mom and dad, when I was born, they were working class. They were the youngest kids of two farming families. My mom was from across the river in a little town called Barnet. My dad was from a little town called Dalton. And that's where they both grew up. They ended up in Lancaster, the youngest kids of two farming families. At that time, my mom was a waitress at the Lancaster Diner. My dad was a construction worker. So real working class. And I tell you this because my story starts with me as a little kid. If you've ever been exposed to professional psychic mediums, you're going to hear most of them, if not all of them, talk about having done this as a child. Like they're talking to spirits, they're listening to spirits as a kid, they've done this since they were a kid. That's not my story. My story is when I was a little kid, I was about 4 or 5 years old, I knew two very distinct things about myself. I knew that I was gay, just from the get-go, and I knew I couldn't share it with anybody. It was the 80s. My parents were a couple of hillbillies, okay? Couldn't share it with anybody, it wasn't safe. But I also knew that I liked the scary stuff. The scary stuff. Like looking at the vampires, the werewolves, the ghosts, zombies, all that stuff. I couldn't get enough of it. Halloween, my favorite time of year. And I ended up growing up loving Sesame Street, loving the Muppets, becoming that 7, 8-year-old kid who ended up diving into the Stephen King paperbacks that my mom would find at yard sales. Right? It was like this kid that has his nose stuck in these books. My parents didn't care because they were working a lot, and a kid who has his nose stuck in a book is not a kid who's beating up on his little sister. So there was peace in the house. My parents were working, there was peace between me and my sister, all good. Growing up, I kept losing myself in those stories. And I realized, because I wasn't feeling safe in my world, I was getting lost in other worlds. And that's kind of what happens, I think, to a lot of us. Now, I grew up in high school, graduated from St. John's Very Academy in 1997, didn't go to college, didn't have any of that, did all sorts of work, did all sorts of jobs. In 2003, I had a child with a high school sweetheart. In 2006, I don't know what's going on here, but that high school sweetheart and I, we separated. And at that point in time, I came out of the closet. It was 2006, it was safe-ish for me to do that. And I came out with a bang, and I made up for a lot of lost time. Had a couple of really complicated years, getting on my feet, complicated relationships. And in 2008, I had given up on relationships in general. They were that complicated. But I found myself back in Lancaster, New Hampshire. Lancaster, New Hampshire, I was selling cell phones for a little store called US Cellular. I was just working, taking care of my kiddo when I had him, and just working. One Saturday, 15 years ago, 2008, I went down to the farmer's market and there was a new vendor. That vendor was Isaac. As soon as I met him, I fell in love with him. As soon as we hung out once, we've been attached at the hip. This Friday the 13th was our 13th wedding anniversary. So we've been together 15 years, and if any of you are familiar with that, 15 years is a lifetime in gay. Okay, so it's a long time, but it's a long time for anybody. I'm very, very glad to have him. Now, when I met him, he and I were very, very different. We'd had very different childhoods. His parents wrote the Bible. My parents rode motorcycles. That's how different we were. Now, when I met him, he was very spiritual. He was into what at that time I called all the New Age woo. All the Reiki, the shamanism, the herbalism, the tarot cards. It was literally the guy that was like, babe, please don't hurt yourself, play Dungeons and Dragons, whatever you're doing. And, I had an ear to the ground for mental illness. And this is something that's very important to me. When it comes to spirituality, our spirituality, it really intersects with our emotional and our mental health. It really does. So when he's talking about all this stuff and all these things that he's experiencing, and you can't see it, taste it, touch it, feel it, part of me had to wonder, is this guy okay? And he was just having his own experiences, right? Now, he didn't give me any demonstrations that he was mentally ill, but we were just doing our own thing. He was exploring spirituality, I was doing my thing, I was real type A guy, just working, watching a couple horror movies here and there, and just taking care of my family. 2010, I got married. 2013, I had this idea to start my own business. Now, when I was a teenager, my parents started a masonry business. They were farmers, they eventually started their own thing, so I come from entrepreneurs by nature, people who do their own thing. 2013, I had this idea to begin a marketing business. I noticed that nobody in the area was doing Facebook or Instagram or any social media well or right. Nobody's posting pictures of their food or their flower arrangements. Nobody's answering questions, posting hours. So I got this idea, probably received the idea to come up with a little package and go around to all these businesses and say, hey, I'll do this stuff that you guys aren't doing. It's important. Now, over the next few years, I got up to about 75 to 80 small business clients that I was working with in a 25 to 50 mile radius around Littleton. And I bring that up to you because, again, I'm not the guy that had the spirits talking as a kid. I was a guy that was just doing a bunch of work for a whole bunch of people, and I was a well-known guy doing this stuff. In 2016, the Twilight Zone Express pulls into my head, and here's how. Isaac had remembered that at my parents, I saw a commercial for a DNA test. You guys know the DNA test, right? Spit in a tube, send it off to the mail, they'll tell you all sorts of interesting stuff about you that might disrupt your family a little bit. I've seen that a lot. But the DNA test really fascinated me because I had one grandparent that I knew, my grandmother Edith. She was from Lyman. She had family from Canada. And imagine this old 70, 80-year-old dairy farmer having family from Canada, being very proud of her French heritage. She affectionately referred to herself as a stinking Frenchman. And she just loved it, right? That DNA test that I got showed me my mom and dad's side and determined that that thing about being French was a lie. Or a misconception, if you will. Because, we're now south of the Canadian border. It'd be easy to think we're all French, right? I have very little French. I'm mostly British, Scottish, Irish, Scandinavian, Norwegian, most of this stuff. And I know it's a stretch of the imagination, but I'm mostly Viking. Okay, like Viking, right? Not Teresa Caputo. Now, this stuff perplexed me so much because there were little things in there. I didn't know what they were about. I had 2% Portuguese. I had 2% Nigerian. I had this smatterings of these little things, and I wanted to know where they came from. So I signed up for Ancestry.com. I cannot recommend everybody here. You can learn to use it. It's fascinating, and it will tell you so much. Sign up for Ancestry.com, and it will blow your mind. Now, I shouldn't even be here. Like, I'm kind of a miracle. My dad is actually a miracle because my dad, he was born in 1958 to a woman who was 47 years old. So imagine a 47-year-old woman today having a newborn. That's amazing. My grandfather, Mr. Libido, was 52. Seriously, I can't even imagine this. 52 years old, newborn, right? Well, what they were doing is they were trying to have another daughter. Because they had a whole bunch of sons with one daughter, and they're like, screw it, we're going to try to have another daughter. And there comes my dad. So my dad lost his father when he was 8 years old. My grandfather was 60. I didn't know my grandmother either. She passed when I was 2. Quite old. I didn't know my mom's dad. I didn't know any of my grandparents. What I did know, because my dad knew this, my dad's dad was a World War II vet. Signing up for Ancestry.com, I discovered this. My dad's dad, my great-grandfather, he was in World War I. When World War II came around, he signed up to be in World War II with his son. So I have a great-grandfather that's a vet of 2 world wars. That blew my mind. Now, when I was building these ancestry trees and all of that, I would be having appointments with people that I didn't know or hardly knew. I'd be sitting across from them talking about their business. I'd be having dinner, lunch, all of this stuff with people that I didn't know. And all of a sudden, I would be hearing things. I'd be feeling things. I'd be tasting things, smelling things, just knowing things. This stuff came out of nowhere. And what I could say is that it was intrusive. It wasn't coming from me. Connecting to my ancestors is what set this stuff off for me. I was 37 years old. Now, the way that I'm different is that I'm not going to stand up here and say I'm God's gift to psychics, because when this stuff happened to me, it scared the bejesus out of me. It did. It scared the bejesus out of me, because I had no idea what it was. I had no idea what it was, but I could tell it wasn't coming from me. I could tell it was not coming from me. I was seeing people's faces, tasting things, all sorts of weird things. It wasn't coming from me. So when this stuff was happening to me, I did what most of us do when we're scared of stuff. I backed up from it. I walked away from it. I repressed it. At that point in time, I had plenty of practice repressing the core parts of me, and I just turned away from it. Didn't want anything to do with it because it scared me. It scared me for a couple of reasons. It could be something from the outside of me, or it could be mental illness. And that was a legitimate concern. So I just pushed it away. But just like the homosexuality, it wouldn't stop. I could run away from it, but it just wouldn't stop. But building those family trees, and not only learning about my grandfather, grandfathers, great-grandfathers, but especially my great-grandmothers, caused me to realize something. Now, Susie Hilliard is the woman that I bring up every one of my shows. I almost dedicate every single one of these shows to her. She's my dad's mother, my great-grandmother. She's the one who saw her husband go to World War I and come back, and then saw her husband and her son go to World War II and come back. I can't even imagine. That just blows my mind. And she's the one that stayed home, took care of the farm, probably shot the bears out of the chicken coops, you know what I mean, that sort of stuff. And it was the grandmothers, great-grandmothers that blew me away. We all have the fathers, grandfathers, great-grandfathers that are noble and honorable, but it's the moms and the grandmothers who suffered, truly. That kind of changed me. What I want you to do when you go home tonight is I want you to look at the roll of paper towels on your kitchen counter. And when you do, what you're looking at is a miracle. A miracle. Your worst day here in this modern era is our ancestors' best dream. Can you imagine what your great-grandmothers would have done for a roll of paper towels? Whoa, dogs thrown up on the floor. Think about how sacred even a rag was to them. Because they didn't have the Walmarts or the grocery stores or the pharmacies or the antibiotics or any of the stuff that we all take for granted. Seriously, we take a lot for granted. Now, understanding this about my ancestors, what that caused me to do is that caused me to run at the scary thing instead of run away from it. Every single person in this room has attributes, qualities that nobody else in the world has. And you have them because your ancestors struggled. Every single person here comes from strong people. They might not have been moral, they might not have been virtuous or good people, but they were strong people. And everybody here comes from strong people. You have strength in you simply because you're here. And that's something I want you to remember from tonight. That's something that your ancestors want you to remember. Now, what I decided to do is I decided to run at the scary thing, and what I decided to do is I decided to run a science experiment to figure it out. And this is very important. So I'm a big believer in science. I'm the biggest skeptic of this stuff ever. And I used science to figure it out. Science was a DNA test going into it. Science was going to help me figure this out. Halloween of 2017, what I did is I ran a science experiment. I had my husband give me 9 people that I didn't know, didn't even want to know what their names were, sit in front of me for 15 minutes each, with the understanding that I was just going to sit in front of them and be like, oh, I'm feeling this. I'm seeing this, I'm hearing this, I'm tasting this, tell me what this means to you. Now, the first woman that sat across from me, the first question that I had for her was, are you a recovering Christian? And she was a former minister. She had been working through her relationship with religion and church and God and all this stuff. She was in not a great place. Now, over the course of that night, it was over and over and over. I'd be feeling things, tasting things, hearing things. And since then, a couple days from now, it's going to be my 7th anniversary of doing this professionally. Halloween is my start date back in 2017. I have done hundreds of these group readings. I've done thousands of one-on-one readings. But here's the common denominator out of every time I sit with somebody. A lot of people are scared of this stuff. It's messing with me too. Okay. A lot of people are scared of this stuff, but what I do know about how I interpret and receive energy is this. The common denominator for every time I sit with somebody is every piece of information that I get for somebody through me is in their best interest. It's in their best interest. I'm not getting random information. I'm not telling people when they're going to die, which a lot of people are like, oh my God, that's what you're going to tell me. I'm like, no, that's not what's happening here. What I get is information on the best behalf of the person I'm sitting with. So the areas of concern that our spirits are all about is our heart, our emotional health, where we are emotionally. Then our body. Sometimes I've gotten really peculiar things that have saved people's lives because of their body. And then a person's home. The 3 areas of concern of your spirits: heart, health, home. That's what they want. They want the best for you. Now I'm going to share with you some principles that I've picked up along the way. I don't ask anybody to walk out of here with them, but I want you to hold on to them for tonight. We all have ancestors that were strong. That's what we all have in common here. We all are alive right now. We're all going to die. That's what we all have in common here. Now, I want you to think about the human condition, where we're at, everybody here, as like the marriage between a horse and a rider. Your body is an animal, and it needs water and food and shelter and play and rest. Your spirit, the eternal part of you, is like the rider. When you're alive here, you're the marriage of animal and spirit. A really magnificent animal, we call it the holy vessel. This is our holy vessel. We are inhabited by a spirit. Now, when we pass away, that rider comes off the horse. We continue on. And just in the same way that body and spirit are married, so isn't the world of nature, our natural physical world, and the world of spirit married. So when we pass away, we do go to an afterlife. We do go to a heaven, we do go to a paradise. But it's not some far distant dimension that's disconnected from here. It is right here. Right here, right now. And the best way that I want you to think about this is your spirits, your ancestors that are with you, well, they're right behind a one-way mirror that you would see in a cop show. Y'all are familiar with the one-way mirrors that you see in a cop show, right? We're on the side of the suspects, pretty oblivious to what's going on the other side. They're on the side of the cops. They see us, they feel us, they know us, and they are in communication with us. So here's something that I want everybody here to take away with you right now. Everybody in this room knows the word intuition, right? Intuition. Everybody knows intuition. There are some people in this room that would consider themselves to be intuitive. Several people in this room would consider themselves to be intuitive, right? Good gut instinct, good judge of character, and all of that. Well, let me tell you where that comes from. The language of spirit is feeling, emotion. You guys have an emotional part to yourself. You have an intuitive part to yourself. Your spirits are all around you. They know things that you don't, and they're trying to send information to you. Okay? Now what happens is you're receiving those feelings, and then it takes about half a second to a second before your rational, what the Buddhists would call the monkey mind, kicks in and translates what you're receiving in your own voice. So when y'all would know that you're intuitive because you would run your own science experiments. You would know that you're intuitive because you got to the other side of a situation, the other side of a person, and you're like, oh, I should have listened to myself. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? So many people in this room are like, man, I should have listened to myself. Well, what happens when that goes on is what you're actually saying is, man, I should have listened to my spirits. That's what's happening. So we're all in communication. Now the funny thing is you're going to notice this happens when you're dreaming. Between about 3 a.m. and dawn, between our bathroom break around 3 a.m., we get up, go to the bathroom, go back to sleep, and between that time and dawn, you're going to get visitors. They're going to give you messages. You guys would understand the idea of highway hypnotism, driving down the highway, zoning out. Okay. When you zone out, highway hypnotism, when you're doing dishes, when you're in the shower, and that monkey mind is quiet, you're going to get more information. You're going to get more smells, more tastes. That's when you're going to feel like they're there with you, because they are there with you. Now, what you're going to find out about me is I don't really buy into much New Age woo. I don't. Not at all. You're not going to hear woo come out of me. I don't even use the word spirit guides. I don't. I've had so many people talk about listening to their spirit guides, and what they're actually talking about is listening to their anxiety. Okay? And that's a huge difference, right? You're listening to your anxiety, not your spirit guides. That's your fear talking, not your spirits. I like the term umbrellas. They're with us all the time. They want to protect us, guide us, and they're all different. They're going to be moms, grandfathers, brothers, in-laws, all of that. They're going to be with us all the time because they want what they wanted for you when they were here. They wanted the best for you. And that's what I'm going to deliver you to tonight. I'm going to actually be translating feelings, sensations, impressions, images, symbols. Very few times do I get actual words, because it requires a great deal of strength for them to put words into my head. But what I've also found is that the people who are dead longer communicate stronger. So death is birth in reverse. Just in the same way it takes us some time to get up on our feet and get to communicate here, that's what happens in the Holy Spirit. It takes some time to get up and get acclimated to that existence. So you're going to notice that a lot of the older dead come through tonight just because of the nature of what that is. But again, there's very few hard and fast rules for this stuff. The difference between a one-on-one reading and a group reading is, as I've already talked about it a little bit, there is this fun nature that I'm supposed to have with everybody. The spirits that help me do this, they don't want people walking out of here going, oh my God, it was so sad. It was so sad. And we might have some sad times tonight, it's inevitable, right? But they don't want people walking out of here being sad. I am a firm believer in what I call vitamin joy. We all have trauma and stress and turmoil in our life. We need to go seek vitamin joy in the same way we get vitamins for our body. We need vitamin joy for our spirit and our heart. So that's what I try to bring to everybody. Now, everything that I get, everybody that comes through from a place of love and compassion. But I will say, if you have ancestors like my grandmother, you're going to know what tough love means. Okay? I think everybody knows what tough love is, okay? So there's no judgment. When I get called to people, you're going to feel that you could be in the hot seat. Okay? And that's the funny thing, because a lot of people would come to these like, oh my God, I have to get a reading. Oh my God, I have to go get a reading. You know, just, there's going to be all sorts of expectations. I don't know how that works. I don't know where I'm going to. I don't know how I get guided. If you've ever seen me do this before, boop, 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 all over. But this is what I do know. The people that I get pulled to have shoulders broad enough to have everybody's eyes on them. Okay? And the people that I get pulled to, well, they're going to have stuff going on in their life that other people are going to be able to relate to. So I want you to think of everybody here as a bee and a hive. Everybody here is a big hive of bees. We're a family, right? I'm going to be reading bees out of the hive. But it's going to be readings for the entire hive. And I want everybody to know that. So I don't want anybody to feel left out. But when I get pulled to particular people, it's not because they're better. It's because the higher powers understand that they have stuff going on that everybody can relate to. So that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get started. And I'm going to set this microphone down. And if it does this to you again, I don't need it to, okay? But expect anything to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a sip of my tea here, keep myself hydrated. But what I have everybody do is sit back, close your eyes, and take 3 deep breaths. Okay? Start over with breaths. Okay, so Isaac has got the other mic, and he's going to bring the mic to the person. Anybody that gets read tonight is going to walk away with a 4-leaf clover charm. So I find 4-leaf clovers all over, I turn them into charms. Anybody that gets a reading gets a 4-leaf clover charm. You're going to get it at the end of the evening. Okay? So here's a funny thing. When I was out back, getting ready to listen to my music, I kind of knew where I was going to start. It was the spirits that helped me. Well, they're kind of telling me what direction to go. So I thought they were actually going to be sitting in the second row, but they're sitting in the third row, and it's going to be the second one in the third row. So Isaac, if you could go all the way over here, yeah, next to the blue sweatshirt. Yep. All right. Okay. So I told you you had broad shoulders. Can I get your name, please? Say it into the microphone.
Jen.
Okay. So Jen, I'm going to walk over here. I'm not going to walk over here. Scared me. Okay. So Jen, I have a gift for you, and I don't know why I have to give it to you. But I found a crow feather here when I walked in. Okay? So I don't know if you have a connection to crows or birds or anything like this, but I'm supposed to give you this crow feather. Okay. Now, remember what I'm doing with you is I'm translating emotion. I'm translating feeling. Okay? What I'm going to describe to you is a male figure around you. Okay? And I'm going to describe him to you. He's he's got, I would say, he's kind of your height. He's got kind of glasses, round face, okay? Did you know your mother's father?
Not very well.
Not very well. Am I describing him?
No.
Okay. So this is what I want you to do, because this feels very grandfatherly. This feels like old world. This could be your dad's dad, or even a great-grandfather. Was your dad's dad like this? Short, round face, glasses, all of that, okay. So here's an interesting thing. This guy feels to me like he could solve any problem in the world. You put him in front of him, he could just solve it all. But it's like a real chill energy, like real cool. I'm not like, I don't get a big temper, I'm not freaking out. I've just got like, I can handle it. This guy had a lot of faith in himself, okay? Now, an interesting thing is this feels like he would have gone through World War II too, because a lot of this stuff about him, like real cool, like just real cool. And that's what happens when somebody goes through major world calamities, right? Major world stuff, because if you go through stuff like that, you're not going to be worried about a flat tire. A lot of us, when we get a flat tire, we're like, oh my God, the world's ending, and I'm like, have a lot of anxiety. This guy does not feel like he has any anxiety at all, okay? Was he actually in World War II? But he would have been of that generation, would have lived through it? Okay, so I want you to imagine, because this is like a big thing for him, okay? You can imagine what people who would have gone through world wars would be like, all right? Now, are you two sisters? Like, what's going on here? No? How do you know each other?
Really good friends.
Just really good friends? So you are like sisters in that way?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mom and daughters become sisters once the daughter grows up and they become like that, okay? So here's a funny message for him. Can I get the friend's name?
Jeanette.
Jeanette, okay. And you are again? Jen and Jeanette, okay. So, Jen, don't take any of Jeanette's shit, okay? Give it right back to her, okay? Give it right back to her, because she's got like this trickster energy, and this isn't a judgment, okay? This is like you like messing with people. You do. Yes. Well, not me. No. I love messing with people, and it's like the more I like somebody, the more I'm gonna mess with them. Yeah, joking, right? So this guy likes her, but he wants you to give it back to her. Okay, he wants you to give it back to her. Yeah. Isaac, could you do me a favor? And I was going to ask you to take this speaker, and if you would put it up on that corner. Do you see, like, the corner of that railing, if you could, please? Because, like, I want to get a little bit closer to Jen, but I'm scared of the feedback. Okay. Yeah, right up on there. You should be able to get it. Awesome. And if you can point it to the center of the room, I think that's going to be better.
That sounds better.
That sounds better? Yeah. Thank you for that. Okay. So, Jen, here's the thing. Your shoulders are overburdened. You're trying to solve everybody's problems. Okay? So, and this is really important because this guy, he's going to ask you to bring his chill energy into your life. Now, oh my gosh. So, your mom? Yeah. So, I'm going to do my best to not swear in the church, but I like it's an adult evening and I swear at my grandmother, okay? What I see moms especially because they came from one, are the BS hunters. They're always hunting the BS. They're always looking to squash the problems. How can I set the appointment? How can I take care of this? How can I do laundry? How can I do this? Right? It's not to say dads don't contribute, but it's really important for you to know that when you can do your best to solve everybody's problems, okay? But if there comes upon you a problem that you can't stop or solve, then this is like the death of a woman that you would have loved, okay? So this is very important. You're gonna want to feel like you could save everybody. And when things happen to you that you can't save everybody, it cannot become a reflection of your own worth, okay? So I want to ask you, is your mom gone? Yeah. Okay, so there's a woman that he's talking about that you've lost, and it would have felt like you would have felt very responsible for her. Kind of?
That's my kid's grandmother.
Kid's grandmother.
Yes.
Okay. You would have loved her, you would have helped her, you would have done all sorts of things for her. Now think about the BS hunters. The BS hunters of this world, they're eventually going to come across BS that they can't fix. They can't stop. There's going to be a force of nature that comes along. And here you are to do anything to make sure that that wouldn't stop, like that she wouldn't be gone from this world. But there's things that you can't control, okay? Now he says that you gotta take your problems, the things that you're trying to solve, and cut them in half. Like, cut them in half. Because you're holding up the world, apparently, for some adults who should be holding the world up for themselves. You know what I mean? Okay. So, yeah, see, Jeanette? Yeah, I don't know. Because, I want you to understand that this grandfather has the 1,000-foot view, right? He's like on the other side of that little mirror, and he sees you having a hard time breathing because you're trying to solve everybody's problems. Well, remember, there's no judgment when I say this, but you're enabling people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
You're enabling people, so they should be like taking care of their own stuff. Again, no judgment, because the world has taught you to take care of everybody's problems, solve everybody's problems, solve all the solutions, get everything right. If they're under 18, help them. If they're over 18, watch them help themselves. Okay, and that's super important. Now I say that he's a 20-year-old son and he needs my help. Okay, but I have to enable him to help himself, show him that he's got to help himself. Okay. Oh my gosh, okay. So what this grandfather is indicating to me is that you are helping somebody who's a snot. Okay? Like somebody's like a snot in terms of like he's saying spoiled little brat. Okay? Oh man.
Is that great?
Oh my gosh, is the snot here? No. Because we're gonna have a talk. But there's somebody who's kind of like a little spoiled, okay? And you're helping them, and you shouldn't be, because what you're not doing, think about what would happen if you passed away tomorrow, God forbid, right? This person would not have the skills in this world to get through, because they could just go, oh, Mom will fix it, somebody will fix it, okay? Now, Jeanette, okay? Well, I know, this is interesting. Well, you could kind of hand it to her, but here's the thing. Because what I can say is between the two of you, there's definitely love. Yes, there's love. Here's why. Here's an interesting thing. Now, I taught our ancestors the umbrellas. Okay? When Isaac and I came into a relationship, he got my umbrellas, I got his. Okay? So this grandfather likes you, Jeanette, likes how you give her shit, just wants her to give the shit back, right? Well, one of those things is like, Jeanette's just feeling really judged. And I don't think that you want to judge her, you want to help her, but you have this air of having everything all figured out, and you're like giving advice. But here's the funny thing, can I ask you again, remember no judgment? He's saying to me that your house is dusty, okay? And you have like breathing problems. You don't have breathing problems? Well, you might end up with them, okay? So is your house dusty?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, Jen, is it like an old house?
It is, yes.
It's an old house, okay.
70s, well, built in the 70s, so it's not that old.
Not that old. But there's something, oh my gosh. So I think what he's trying to say is maybe you need to clean your own house before you worry about somebody else's. Yeah. And we're going to take that figuratively, right? We're going to take that figuratively. But here's a funny thing. So built in the 70s, is your basement wet?
Sometimes, yes.
Sometimes? Okay. So is it musty? Oh, right. Do you have any black mold anywhere in your house?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay, you don't want to check the wetness, you don't want to like pull stuff away from the walls in the basement, that sort of stuff. Because there's something about your lungs. Okay?
My lungs?
Yeah, your lungs. Your lungs. Now this guy is concerned for your well-being. Okay, he is. He's just, you're going to get the ancestors of the people that love you. Jen, he's actually very proud of how well you keep your house. Okay? So, right, yeah, no. I was just going to joke, but he's like, no, don't do that. Because that would become another problem of yours on your shoulders that you want to solve. Okay? So, here's something else that I want you to consider too. Okay? There's something about you being really bored just really like having a routine, just stuck in routine and needing something that's your own, it's something that you can call your own. Apparently you're one heck of a baker. You like baking? Okay. The reason that I say this is he showed me these like little cakes, almost like little tiny birthday cakes, like little small ones. There's something about you making stuff and going to like the farmer's market. Okay? So you need something of your own, right? Are you creeping out on like empty nest syndrome? How old's your oldest or youngest?
My 15, 13, and
11. Okay, so they're old enough to like contribute, help out, you're not changing diapers. Okay. There's something about, like when I met Isaac at the farmer's market, we got together and we were doing the farmer's market a lot, but there's something that I did with our kid is that we brought him to the farmer's market so he could see what we were doing, okay? Now, your kid's grandmother, this would be your husband's mother? Ex-husband, okay. So here's a funny thing, here's why she's not gonna show up a lot. And this is an illustration of what spirits do, okay? So, spirit goes to the people that need us the most. So if we're taking care of ourselves, right, our spirits are not really contributing much to our life. They're there, but they're not like really baking us with their energy, focusing on our energy. She's really concerned about her son. Yeah, like really concerned about her son. So she's not gonna come here and give you a lot of energy because most of her energy is trying to save this guy. Okay, now, yeah, no, like you knew that's what you're gonna know. Grandpa came in and she didn't come in. Grandpa's coming in and like we're gonna get 5% of her, okay? Now, can I ask you, does your husband have a junior?
ex-husband?
Yeah, your ex-husband have a junior, like a mini-me?
That's your son.
That's your son, okay, like a little mini-me, okay?
He's a junior.
Yeah, he's an actual junior?
He's an actual
Okay, so one of the reasons being is that she's trying to get him, your ex-husband, not to set the same example for Junior.
Me too. Me too.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no. So she's like really trying to get through to him because this kid is going to want to follow in his father's footsteps. Okay. It's really important that you get that louder. All right, because I think that you're being too softer, like too soft. I want you to run your mouth. He wants you to run your mouth, but not in a way of like making somebody feel judged. Like you have to make your message louder. So have you ever heard of the sandwich method? So the sandwich method is when you have kids or employees or something and you gotta give feedback, you gotta give them like a positive and then give them the feedback and then give them a positive. Sandwich it between the two things. So when you have to give feedback to your kid, right? Here's an interesting thing. I'm not sure if this kid is driving age or what, but they need him to like not be reckless. And that's an interesting thing. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like reckless, like they're like it, and like all sorts of like craziness. Just like his father. Just like his father. So when you give him feedback, it's to like ways to like be better. You gotta give him feedback in terms of like, here, do this well. You're doing this really well. I love how you're doing this. You gotta work on this, and I really love how you're doing that. Because if we end up just, hammering them on the negatives, that's gonna actually accomplish what you don't want. It's pushing them away and making them do more of the thing you're trying to make them not do, okay? So I have to give you this, and you gotta remember that my work does not include future predicting. But your boy's gonna be okay. Okay, he's gonna be okay. That doesn't mean he's not gonna get beat up, bumps and bruises along the way, but it needs you to kind of bring the like hyper mom thing down a notch. Okay, like he's gonna die. And I get it because I'm a kid and I totally understand we've got to be aware of what they're doing. But it's funny, she's doing everything that she can to make sure that he's okay. Alright? Now she may not be able to save her son from himself, but she's going to do everything she can to save Junior, right? Oh man, okay. So just a funny thing for this, your ex-husband likes to drink? Yeah, okay. So what you're going to find is that your kid is going to go through certain experiences where he is really sick. Really sick. He's going to try it, he's going to get really sick, oh boy, okay, your kid might have like a sugar thing. Like a sugar thing, almost like blood sugar thing where the alcohol's gonna really mess with him. Okay? So that's gonna make him really sick. He's gonna try behind your back, as all kids do, but he's gonna get like I can't even sniff the cap of the bottle of Jack Daniels like that. It's bad. It's bad because I had that experience in high school, right? So this is what's gonna happen. She's gonna make sure that your kid gets deathly ill. But it's interesting what spirit does in that way, right? You gotta make sure that your kid, when he tries to drink, is deathly ill, and that's gonna be the lesson he needs to learn, okay? The worst thing is him getting ill. What I can say is that he will not grow up to be an abuser, all right? And this is important because it doesn't feel like that's what his dad did. Okay, so just need you to know that your energy that you're contributing, definitely helping. She's helping. Okay. Again, with the cake thing, did she make like a lemon cake? Okay, I want you to make some cakes. She didn't bake it all.
She had like a famous birthday cake she would make every year.
Famous birthday cake, so that's why she showed me the cake thing. Okay, do you like lemon?
Yeah.
Okay, make her cake, because this is a funny thing. She's not here to make the cake for you. You gotta make your own cake on your own birthday, okay? Especially if you like lemon cake, okay? Jeanette, here's an interesting thing, because I'm gonna get her, like their ancestors, right? Because Jen wants you to be well. Jen wants you to be well. Her spirits are gonna want you to be well. It feels like you need to rethink your job. Yeah.
I work from home, like, stress.
Maybe you do, Jen, okay? Or maybe what this is maybe you need to do something like she's doing. Okay? Like, there's a job thing happening. Okay? So again, I'm gonna get my wires crossed a little bit because you guys are this close. Okay? So, this grandmother, okay, you were talking to her when she was in spirit. Like, you had conversations with her. Yes, but you stopped. You need to keep going. Okay, like keep it going. Here's the funny thing, did she smoke?
She did.
Yeah, okay, because I'm smelling like cigarette smoke from her, okay? So that's one of the things that you're gonna get out of spirit, is like smells to show you that they're there. She wants you to know that, oh boy, she's really proud of you, but you gotta get a little bit louder with the kids and all the right way, okay? Is it your daughter that's the punk?
Right now?
Yeah, right now? Yeah. That may be just like a teenage thing, right? The thing about running your mouth a little bit more to her, okay? In the best motherly way possible, not like coming down on them. What's that, Jen? Say it.
It's just crazy. You're just nailing everything.
That's what you paid money to come see, okay? Right.
No expectation.
Thank you for that. That's what I needed. It's just that I knew that this person was going to be right here, feeling like there was so many problems on her shoulders, okay? So this is good for everybody to know, because I need everybody to know the law of practicality. I'm going to use a situation that's coming right up for a lot of us. The presidential election, okay? You know how spirit feels about the presidential election? Just vote and shut the hell up. Seriously, just vote and shut the hell up, because that's the law of practicality. If there's something that's bothering you, you have to ask yourself, what can you do about it? Can you do anything about it? Figure it out. Do it. If you can't do anything about it, learn to live with it or get the hell away from it. Right? So it's this thing about, like, you know how many people are causing inflammation and stress and crazy stuff that happen to their bodies because they're like all wound right up. Red, blue, center, it doesn't matter, right? So many people are like, oh my God, the end of the world. And those people can't even name their local state reps. You know what I mean? It's just amazing to me. So that's something that I would have you sit with, is the law of practicality, right? Knowing that your kids are a force of nature. There are some things that you can do and that you have to do. And there's some things that you're not ever going to be able to fix, and you just have to live with it. That's the law of practicality. So thank you, Jeanette. Okay, because again, remember, wires crossed here. You work from home, can I ask you, your shoulders and neck all bothering you?
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, okay, so have you ever heard of Shakti mat? So it's gonna be like a little yoga mat, and it's like think bed of nails, handy bed of nails. Anybody in this room who has back problems, I want you to experiment with this. I got mine for like $40 on Amazon. It looks like it's got little white discs on it that have points. They lay on it, and it's gonna hurt for a minute or two. But what it does is it increases blood flow to your muscles. They even have neck pillows for your neck and stuff like that. So after the couple minutes, it'll feel wonderful. So you mean this is like acupressure versus acupuncture, but that would be something very good for you. Okay, so just again, probably because you're working from home, probably doing computer stuff or something, and you're like tense in that dominant arm. Yeah, so loosen that stuff up. They really appreciate the presence that you bring to Jen's life. And when I say that Jen has to give you more shit, right? You don't stop giving her. Okay, like that your friendship in a way that you're like messing with her, joking with her, you provide a joy to her, you're a blessing to her. Jen, she's not judging you, you gotta give it right back. Okay, that's important. And that'll give you a little bit of ability to deal with your own stuff, finding that humor, finding enjoying it, because you gotta laugh at it. Okay? Your kid's gonna be all right. Okay. If you have a microphone to the man behind you, please. Up the guy in the blue shirt. Hello. There we go, he says. Could I get your name, please?
Phil.
Give it?
Phil.
Phil, okay. So, Phil, here's an interesting thing. Can I ask you who you're with here? Your wife?
Susan.
Susan. Okay, get a microphone. Does it work? Yeah, I think so. You just might have to actually hold it to your mouth. Okay. So, Phil, okay. So, Susan, I'm going to actually ask you these questions because I just want to make sure that I'm getting the right stuff around Phil. All right. So, Susan, you're very lucky. Okay, this is what I mean. Phil is a top-notch dude. He's absolutely a top-notch dude. Now, Phil, I know that you're going to have like a lot of people when they hear compliments like this. This is interesting because a lot of people are like, I don't know what he's talking about. This is why I have to talk to Susan. So, Susan, you got a top-notch dude here. Now, where this message is coming from, Phil, men that you're a clone of. This is going to be the men that you have and like that you're a clone of. They've got your last names. So this is your dad, grandfather, all of this. These are problem solvers. These are people of integrity. These are people of honor. Absolutely. Now, here's an interesting thing that they want you to consider. And I think you've been getting this message. They want you to write a book. Okay? So over the course of your life, whatever career you have, whatever you've done, you've gained a lot of wisdom. Can you say that you gained a lot of wisdom?
I hope so.
Okay. So here's something that's a rarity in this world, and here's why I have to bring this up to you. We need men in this world that know how to show young men how to become men. We do. There's very few positive male role models in this world. Okay. Something's happening. What I want you to do is this, though. I want you to consider, it's interesting, because I want you to consider your own personal 10 commandments. And this is something that I want you to play with. We've heard of the 10 commandments, we've heard of that, right? There are these principles and these rules that you kind of live by. You do the right thing all the time. You help the people all the time. And it's funny because the man who's coming through feels like your dad, and it feels like he never told you this. He wants to be able to say, hey, man, I'm super proud of you because you're doing the right thing. You're showing people how to do the right thing. So this man, it feels like he was just like, what I get is like stone cold quiet. Stone cold quiet. So he's not going to give you the positive affirmation. He wants you to know that he is so proud of you. Okay? It's a funny thing. He wants his picture up in your house. Why do you laugh at that?
Well, you have his last picture of him.
Yep.
It's a little square. It's big.
Okay.
It's never come down from the wall. It's always been in the house.
Well,
And to hang a picture of him, we just lost all our photos in the flood this summer. That's the only thing we have left of it.
that's right.
So that, I hope, is going with you wherever we go.
So what I want you to do is I want you to consider getting that blown up some. Right? There's got to be a way you can scan it, you know, high def it, blow it up.
It's an ugly picture too. It's not the whole thing in the world.
Well, that's okay, because it's going to remind you that he's here, right? It's going to remind you that he's here. And this is funny, because he's showing me you as like, no, I'm not a sports guy, although people think I play basketball, okay? I don't know why, but I'm not a sports guy, but he's showing me as like you being like a football guy, like being nimble, like this, okay? And that's figurative of you in your life. You just know how to get around problems and see things happening, okay? I don't know if this is your second marriage, first marriage, okay? So Susan, what's that? Yeah, I get it. So Susan, here's the funny thing, this man must have loved you. Because what he's saying is he's very happy, and remember, we don't need saving, right? And I don't think that you're a person that needs saving, but there's something about this man loving the fact that Phil has saved you. So just taking care of you in the way that a partner should take care of his partner. I'm not even going to say a husband take care of his wife. Partners should take care of their partners, okay? Interestingly enough, and Susan, this is going to be for you to confirm, apparently Phil has helped make your dreams come true.
We've been together for 32 years, and he's very happy.
Very happy, yeah. But like whatever dreams that you had about life, they must have come true because of this man. He must have contributed to this happening for you. Okay. It's funny, you got a garden out in front of your house?
We did.
You did. Is it gone because of the flood?
Yeah. It's never coming back.
You're not ever going to do a garden, or is your...
Not right now.
Okay.
Not where we're at anymore. No.
Okay. So here's a funny message for you around your garden. Okay? Now, remember, I'm translating the feelings. Weed your garden. And if you don't have a garden to weed, right, that could be a figurative message.
Where the garden was, ever since we took it apart because of the flood, it's a field of weeds right now. It is so bad looking right now. It's weeds are this tall and it's pretty bad. So I was thinking about that today, so I'm just pull all the weeds out of it.
So this is just that message coming through. Now, what you gotta understand, Phil, is like, again, I think this is something Susan would appreciate. All right, I just want to illustrate to you what's happened. Time and time again, I will be with a person and be like, oh, your grandmother's saying this, your grandfather's saying this. And they'll be like, wow, I was just thinking of that. And I have to illustrate to you, you weren't just thinking of it, you were receiving it. Remember how I kind of talked about it in the beginning, where like you get a message and then you think about it in your own head? Everybody in this room is going to pay attention to the thoughts that come out of nowhere for no reason. Now, if you weed that, that's going to bring some sense, because she likes a nice, tidy house. You know what I mean? Nice, like the clutter causes you anxiety. That's going to relate to your garden. If you got clutter in the garden, it's going to relate to your sense of anxiety. It just feels like it's a little bit of a mess and I need it picked up. What I want you to do next year, and I think this is going to be a quick solution for you, not a permanent solution. I used to be a landscaper, so I know the difference between annuals and perennials. What he's saying is just fill that thing up with sunflowers. Are you a sunflower person? What?
In the garden, before,
Speaking of the mic for
it
me.
was a vegetable garden. And what happened was it came along and wrecked everything and tore everything apart. We didn't have anything left. Through the summer, we've had one tomato plant come up, we've had one pea come up, we've had some lettuce come up out of nowhere, and we have one sunflower that I did not plant.
Love that.
He's about 4 feet, 3 feet tall. He's got a head on this big. I looked at the flower, it was a sunflower.
Awesome. Awesome. I think next year, okay, like take a whole bunch of sunflowers and just throw them out there, right? And let the sunflowers come up. And especially if you don't have time to manage it, the sunflowers will grow, you know, and kind of shade out everything and get big and tall and shade things out and be beautiful and feed the bees and do all of that. I think the solution next year for you is sunflowers. Okay. Now, Phil, he's bringing my attention to your lower back. Okay? So this is like when you're doing gardening stuff, you know, when you're weeding, it's going to be better for you to get on your knees. okay? And if it's really bothering you, it actually might be better for you to get like a, how do I say, a weed whacker. Okay, weed whack, don't go in there and pull weed whack, okay? It's gonna be much better for your back, because he doesn't want you like bending over. Okay, it's gonna be super important for you. Susan, this guy just really appreciates you, okay? And the reason that I say that, and again, I'm gonna say this because we have this tough old New England folk, you know what I mean? Just tough old New Englanders who don't speak up and say the things that they want to say when they're alive. They just, for whatever reason. This guy's coming through and saying he just appreciates both of you very much, okay? He did feel this is more of a big message for you. He does wish he said this more when he was alive for you, his son. Okay? Now, you would love to hear this because this man, you'd want his approval. You'd want his like, I made you proud, Dad. Thank you. Okay? Now, for as magnificent as a man this is, you're just as magnificent. So the way that you look up to him and the way that he would have been honorable and protective and, you know, just a real solid dude, you are as well. Okay? And the book thing, here's a funny thing. Just full transparency, Isaac and I have a publishing company. I wrote a book for my grandmother, okay? And I wrote my book for my grandmother, for my family, for my kid, for his kids, whenever he has them. That book is really going to be important 100 years from now. So your book, whatever you've done, whatever you've become, the people that you've come from, this means that you must have kids. Okay? So here's something that, because this is what that message is about, write your book, write your book, write your book. Well, you have a certain amount of sand left in your hourglass, so you gotta write your stuff out. You gotta write it out. And it doesn't even have to be a book. You can self-publish it on Amazon, you can write a PDF and leave it for your kids. But I want you to imagine 100 years from now, what this world's gonna look like. And 100 years from now, if they knew who they came from.
Ancestry.com.
Ancestry.com. Yeah, I mean, well, true, but
I've
like,
always wanted to know where my roots were. And it's a little difficult because it seems to be getting dead ends. Nobody on my side of the family knows that family tree. I would be very interested in pursuing it. And maybe that's part of the work.
well, that definitely is, but you are going to be somebody's ancestor 100 years from now. Okay, and that's just something that we don't realize. This is important too because, you know, hire a genealogist because you're hitting dead ends, but they know how to dig through things and find those things. You're just going to want to know, this is interesting, because like you come from a long line of clones, right? Like your dad, his dad, they all kind of look the same, feel the same, all of that. Very strong in that way. Very honorable. It feels like you could go right back to like British knights. Knights of Barnet, knights of medieval Europe. That's really important. Whether you find that information out or not, you're going to know how honorable you are and how important it's going to be. Because this is what everybody's going to know. One day, you're going to pass away. And you're going to go to the other side of that one-way mirror. You're going to look at your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids, and you're going to be there. Watch them. Imagine how different their life would be if they had, you know, the 10 rules of Phil. But it's something that I want you to consider doing because, you know, actually, funny message, do it before you can't use your hands anymore. So, you know, as the older we get, the more arthritis we get in our hands and all of that. I'm not saying that that's going to be a thing that happens, but imagine 10 years from now, 15 years from now, you're going to have a real hard time typing and you're going to wish that you had this time right now to do it. Okay? Now, Susan, for you, okay, this is an ancestor of yours coming in. She's actually feeling like a sunflower herself, okay? Feeling like a sunflower. She's showing me her wearing an apron, okay? So this is, again, she wouldn't have worked. She wouldn't have had like a job. She would have stayed at home. She would have cared for people. She, like a baking. She's showing me the apron, like she would have cooked for people and did all of that stuff. Did you know your mom's mom?
I'm sorry.
Did you know your mom's mom? Okay. Did she have an apron? Okay. It's funny because she wants you to wear one yourself. okay? And what that is, and this is a funny thing, this is like putting on a nurse's smock. You know, when you put like a nurse, any nurse in this room is going to know, when you put on a nurse's smock, you step into that position of nursing, and you take it off, you're no longer nursing. Oh man, okay. She wants you to make a shepherd's pie. Okay? What's that? It could be a meat pie too. Did she make a meat pie? Okay. Meat pie, shepherd's pie, something like this. But what she's indicating to me is that you're intimidated by the process. Like you're intimidated, like, oh my gosh, and it's like cooking or baking something that you don't think that you're good at. And she's like, we learned how to drive a car. You know, like if you learned how to drive a car, you can learn how to bake and cook in that way. You're not going to disappoint her. But here's something else. This is a funny thing, okay? This is a woman who had, feels like a religion. Was she religious? Yes. Okay, so here's what's interesting. So I have this personal opinion about Christians, okay? I kind of divide them up into two groups. We have Christians who were actual Christians, like follow the word of Christ, love thy neighbor. And then we have what I call agenda Christians, who use Christianity to corrupt and oppress and hurt people, okay? Two groups that kind of keep it simple for me. This is funny because what she's saying is that like, you, Susan, don't need to go to a church to just be a person of love. And she appreciates this. So there's, dogma that we would have been raised by. Go to church, read the Bible, right? I believe, and she's indicating this is true, that we all come with sort of an innate sense of knowing what's right and wrong. And she's very happy that you've kind of figured it out and you have your own guiding light. And this whole thing about wanting to impress them and make sure that they're not disappointed in us and all of that, you don't need to go to church to impress her. And that's what she's very much saying, that you figure out how to love thy neighbor. So you know that, right? Yeah. So she just wants you to know that she recognizes that you're a Christian without going to church. You know that, yes? Okay. And what does that mean, the word of Christ? It's not even about Christ, it's about the word of Christ, which is love thy neighbor. And you just really figure that out. Okay. You got neighbors that have kids?
Yes.
Yes. Like little rugrats running around, yelling, screaming. What's up, they're all grown? Okay. So imagine having like noisy neighbors with kids. That might be in your future. Like yelling, screaming, playing. She just wants to want to make sure that you love those neighbors too. So you are a person of compassion and grace, but a lot of really annoying, loud noise can set you off. So, well, you might yet to encounter the thing that does that. Okay? So again, noisy neighbors, noisy kids getting in your yard, all of that stuff. It's the kids especially that we gotta have the compassion for. Okay? And this could be, I think, 10, 15 years from now. But just be mindful of the little rugrats getting on your nerves. They deserve our love too. Okay? So thank you both. It feels like you drove a ways to get here. You did, okay. So I'm glad that I was able to connect with you, but I'm telling you, you guys are just gonna go have the best life possible. You're gonna face the things that bother you, challenge you, and you're just gonna get through them, get around them, get over them. Very much appreciative of you both standing by each other's sides. You guys are like the poster child of great partners for one another. So, thank you. Okay. So this is a funny thing because I'm kind of staying in a cluster here. I'm going over here to this woman in gray with the glasses. Right, she's yep, right there. Okay. What's your name?
I am Jen also. Jen.
Jen, okay. So here's an interesting thing. The other than Jen, when I was talking to her about problems, solving problems, making sure that you're solving those problems, all that, I hope that you can relate to that. Mm-hmm. Okay. I think a lot of us can, but I think specifically you can, and I would like to remind you that law of practicality, helping people, making sure that you're not spreading yourself too thin, because I think a lot of it happens to more women than men. Women become this stereotype in America where they expect the most out of themselves. They give themselves the least, and then they get really upset with themselves when they get the worst version of themselves. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. May I ask you, back in the day, back in high school, college, what have you, did you play sports? Yeah, okay. So, it feels like, and I know, this is a funny thing, it feels like, girl, you got Viking blood in you. Okay? Probably. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because you need a runner's high. Remember, like, back in the day, when you, like, do sports, right? And, like, you feel good because you have the dopamine and the serotonin. Here's a funny thing, because this woman coming through for you now, this is funny. She's a firecracker. She's like a firecracker. She like wouldn't mind swearing, wouldn't mind telling people where to go, like really just like she shoots from the hip like my grandmother, okay? She says that you like kicking people's asses.
I might have done that in high school. Not really, but I didn't
Like,
take any shit.
right. But here's a level of competition that we get from sports, right? It's all fair, you know, you're playing a game, but there's something in you that you like winning. Like, I mean, we all like winning, yes, but there's something, I wish that there was like a women's basketball league around here, you know, or wherever you're from, something that you could go get some exercise, because exercise, as we know it, going to the gym and hopping on a treadmill, that never lasts. It never does, and the best kind of exercise that we get is when we know we're not exercising. You know how many calories I burn home back sweating from the loaf? But I bring that up as an example, right? This is like what we're taught. Like, go to the gym, get on the rowing machine, get on the treadmill. That never lasts because it's boring. You need stimulation. So I want you to think about physical activity to get the blood pumping, okay? They could be like Zumba. But here's an interesting thing, competitive Zumba. You know what I mean? Something where there's a level of competition. Now, this is going to be difficult because we don't have anything like that around here. I'm not sure where you're from, but you know, there's no adult, from Barnet, you know, there's no adult like sports leagues in Barnet.
They used to have boot hockey during the winter. I used to go to.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so you used to go to it because you used to like doing it. Yeah, so I'm really getting this like sports energy, like needing to like get the sweat on, get out there and play against people, you know, that sense of competition. I'm going to invite you to consider starting something like that for yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, starting something like that for yourself. I don't know, you can figure out like a gym or, you know.
Not a gym.
No, I mean like a gymnasium, like a basketball court, like even volleyball. Volleyball's cool. Go up the volleyball mat and just get out there and play volleyball. I bet a whole bunch of people in this room would like to join you on that. Like normally go out every Thursday night and they're just in their clothes and you know they're sweating and there's music and they're just having a good time. So maybe you can talk to the people who used to do that. Did they end it because of COVID? And if so, then maybe they can get it back going.
No, just people moved and it stopped.
Right.
We tried getting it going a few times in a row, but I'm not sure that.
Maybe, you know, use social media stuff, you know, I'm not sure what's going on, but I want you to consider, please, getting this going, okay? So again, you may not know this woman, but this woman wants to be with you to kick ass. She does, yeah, she does. There's something about, you'd be great, this is funny, because this woman would be physical. This is a funny thing, because what she's saying is like, you know what roller derby is?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Like where you're roller skating and you get the elbow paddle. It's just like, man, you need to get in there and just elbow somebody. Like, and that's okay. That's okay. Think about our ancestors. Because a lot of our ancestors, the whole idea of hunter-gatherer people, that's not really what it is. It's really not what it is. Like, a lot of women were fighting in Viking armies. Truly, they were. And this is really important for you because there's something about you needing to get the body moving in a competitive way. And it's very healthy for you. Higher your anxiety goes, the more you need to exercise, the more you need to go do that. So I think that you could relate to more physical movement, less anxiety. You're really responding to the dopamine, serotonin, endorphins. How do you get that? I need you to figure that out, okay? Okay. So the person that's next to you, that you came here with, what's her name?
Christine.
Christine? Okay. So apparently, Christine, you're you look very quiet. I'm not going to pay attention to you a lot. I'm not going to pay a lot of attention to you. But apparently, she's a sleeper. And what I mean by sleeper, she'd be very funny.
She?
Yeah.
Yeah, she.
Yeah. But do you know the idea of being a sleeper? Like the idea of a sleeper is you just look at somebody, you wouldn't imagine that they would whip a one-liner out. You wouldn't imagine that they would have a crack, right? This is funny. Christine feels like she could, I don't want to say speak up more, but I want you to bring your humor out a little bit more, okay? Okay. Relationship between the two of you, could I just get that? Cousins, okay. So here's a funny thing, and I don't know if it's because, what I'm picking up on from the other Jen, but apparently the two of you could start a business together.
We talked about it then.
Okay, that's really what I'm talking about. And here's the funny thing, because this is a person that's older than both of you. Okay, so are you related on your mom's side? On your dad's side? Okay, this is like a grandmother. So, this is a grandmother. So you're on your dad's side. Okay, so your dad has sisters?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not a brother, you're okay. So this is an interesting thing. So your mom, okay, you guys knew her mom?
She's still in.
Okay, so this is going to be a great-grandmother.
We didn't know.
You didn't know her, okay.
Right.
Do you guys come from salt-of-the-earth people? Salt-of-the-earth people. What I mean by that is my grandmother was salt-of-the-earth.
Our grandfather was the salt of the earth, but we didn't really know his family. They were kind of
Okay,
quiet.
so this,
But our grandfather's side is salt of the earth.
okay. Again, we get stuff switched up here. This is a woman who is like my grandmother would not mind swearing. Salt of the earth, swear, she's just gonna not she's gonna be mean, okay?
My great grandmother was like that.
Your great grandmother?
Yeah.
Okay, so this shows you cousins, right? There's gonna be marriage there. This shows you that this woman is all about you and all about you, Christine. This idea of you guys, you got her great grandmother too, Christine. That's what I'm talking about. You've got to know this because she's all about you if you start a business. Now the business then feels like you guys open a whole bakery. Okay, so do either one of you have baking skills or either one of you go in the kitchen?
Well, we started baking.
Say it to the mic, Christine.
We both started making sourdough bread this last winter.
Okay. So
Her more than me.
could there be a bakery in this area? I want you to think about feeding people because there's something about baking. If you're thinking about being a house cleaning business, or I don't know what this is, I don't know what it is, but you two could make a business together happen very well. You guys are going to bring both of those things. And if you're thinking about it, if you're talking about it, you guys got to know that you're getting messages from your ancestors. Super important, okay? In the same way that you need physical movement, Jen, Christine, you need silence, peace, no noise, no radio. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, this illustrates what is good for us. Okay, Jen, you need to go get people's katukas. Okay, Christine, you need quiet and peace. And I think that the two of you coming together like that, that's really going to make this business, whatever it is, work well. And again, here I am with they're giving me the baked goods. This is something that you take with a grain of salt. Okay? There's bakeries all over. They're all selling out of their breads. They're all selling out of everything. People are going to need great homemade good food. Okay? You may even want to look into economic development grants. Something to that effect, economic development grants. Just get a loan, get a grant, something to get the kitchen in there, get the stove in there, something like that, okay? Christine, I really need you to know that you need prescription of Simonds. like silence. Now, this is something that you're gonna have to get every day. So, can you take quiet moments every day?
Yeah, I should.
You can try to?
Yes.
Okay. Do you drive to work?
No, I work from home.
Okay, so that's gonna be the tough thing, because usually when people need silence like that, they'll be in their vehicle, the radio will be off, and they'll just have peace and quiet for that moment. So I want you to consider, if you can't find quiet in your home, then I want you to get out and drive. Like a 20-minute drive, up the river and back down, just to get that moment of silence. Do you have people in your house?
Yes.
Okay, because it just feels like you could yell, shut up!
Okay.
Do you relate to that?
Yes.
Okay, so there's lots of noise and chaos in your house?
At times, yes.
Okay. In those moments where you just want to like yell, shut up, you just be quiet, right? I want you to go driving. Okay, and I think that's for everybody here. A lot of people in this room are going to need moments of silence, but they're in places where they can't get it. And a car ride is going to be a beautiful thing. A lot of people here can also relate to Jen's message, where they need to move their body in a way that's fun. A lot of people would benefit from a dance class.
We used to go dancing all the time. Probably actually everybody in here used to go Monroe dancing.
To Monroe dancing?
Yeah, they used to have dances all year long. And it
Like what kind of dance? Like just like get a DJ?
band, you know, whatever. What's the thing during winter?
That's something that I want you to consider picking up. And you can get a set like that. You know what I mean? Like a group.
I should dance.
All right, well, get a playlist and just play a playlist, you know, through your phone or whatever, off of an iPod or whatever it is, right? And then just dance. You don't necessarily need a DJ. You need a lot of technology to do that, but make it happen. Because if you need it, and you're waiting around for people to make it, you're not going to be waiting forever. Okay? Christine, don't go to the dance. It's going to be too loud for you. Or maybe take a real long drive in. Okay? It's super important for you because it feels like the noise can contribute to headaches and migraines. Do you have those? Yeah, it's something about the noise and overstimulation. It feels like a sensory issue to me, maybe not so much a noise thing, like overstimulated sensory stuff. So you get that. Okay. You guys are great people, and I love that you came here. And I want you to think about the business. Okay? Now, here's a business idea for you, and this is something that I need to make happen in this world that I don't have time for. I want you to think about somebody in this room take it, somebody in this world take it. There needs to be singles events. Singles events for people that are single. So, like, I have this thing where I just wrote a blog about it, where, like, I get this idea, like, gotta do speed dating. You know what speed dating is? Yeah, they get the books, they get the platforms. Imagine somebody coming up with a business where what they did is they go around and rent these, like, house launches. They rent these things, right? And they get good on social media, and they have this program where you just follow and go and you fill out the form, and you just meet singles. That's a business. You guys could do that, travel around, set up the tables, do the things. Do you know how many singles would be into that? Do you guys know what you would do for the housing market? Getting people to cohabitate, all sorts of apartments and houses going up for sale, and come on, think about that. Kids getting out of people's basements, you know, that sort of thing is very important. So if you're thinking about doing the business, this is what I want to say to you guys. I would rather you try it and it fail than go back to work for somebody else than never try it at all. Okay? That's that leap of faith. When you have to take a leap of faith, you have to ask, what's the worst that can happen? If the worst that can happen is you go back to work for somebody else and that's what you're doing, you gotta do that. Okay. So Christine, thank you. Now I'm gonna go into this side of the aisle over here. So if you could give that to Isaac, he's gonna. I don't want to get the mics too close together because who the heck knows what can happen. So I know. Well, no, I don't know what feedback is. Oh, over here. Let's go over here, please. It's a funny thing because I'm like reading couples, like pairs. It's something that happens But I really want you to, okay, yep, come this guy right here, the woods are the goods. Yes, that t-shirt right there. So what I want you to know is this grandmother of yours, great grandmother of yours, is shot from the hip, salt of the earth, all of that. She wants you to speak more like her, more plainly. I don't think that you're going to hurt people's feelings, but you, especially Jen, need to speak more like her. Okay? That's her last message for you. Thank you for coming tonight. That's what she wants to say also. Thank you for showing up. Okay, could you both your names, please?
Matthew.
Claire.
Claire. Okay. All right. So not to, yeah, Claire, Claire, I want you to take the mic, okay? And I'm going to ask you some questions. Could I ask you two, is this sort of new?
Yeah.
You
7 months.
7 months is a new thing, okay? So the two of you are just kind of like getting to know one another. You're still in this process, okay? Here's a funny thing. This is star-crossed lovers. What I mean is like, you two have been brought together weirdly. You know, like how you met was weird and strange? That's what I'm getting from your spirits, okay? That the two of you came together in like strange circumstances. It was like a movie, if you will. Was it, Claire? Okay. It's Claire, right? Claire and Matthew. Okay. So Claire, okay. Matthew, prior relationships, here's something that I want to talk to you about. This is important. And you don't need to give him the mic, because I just want to like talk at him for a moment. Yeah. I'm going to just wear the egg on my face. When I got with Isaac, wherever he's at, I was carrying a lot of trauma from prior relationships, a lot of fears, a lot of worries, and those things were hard to get around. It does feel like you're bringing some like betrayal and abandonment things into this relationship. So it's going to be hard for you to give all of yourself to Claire in that way. So you're in this process. So Claire, this is a funny thing that I want to say to you. Through your mama's line, your mom, her mom, her mom, her mom, you got a whole lot of what I got. You know? Okay. Yeah, it's coming from there. Now, one of the things that I want you to know is thank you for seeing through this stuff. Okay? Because there's going to be this thing where, like, and I think that he's still kind of doing it, keeping you at arm's length. You know, because he's got, like, he's been hurt. And you see it. You're very graceful and skillful, but Matthew, I just want to ask you, Mom, Grandma, somebody that smoked in your life that's passed? You got a woman that smoked? Okay. She might have smoked before you realized, like, she was smoking. Okay? Okay. This woman is showing.
Everybody smoked back then, right?
My grandmother didn't.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a fair assumption. Yes, absolutely. But here's the thing that she's showing me, like washing dishes. Like washing dishes. She would wash a lot of dishes. But again, I would like wash a lot of dishes. But this is somebody, she's showing me the image of her washing dishes. So that means you would have seen her wash dishes. Okay? Like rags, like all of that. She's communicating to Claire. Okay? And the thing that she's communicating to you, Claire, and this is really important for you to know, is that this guy is worth the work. You know, he's worth the work. He's worth putting the work in, worth going, okay, the guy's got stuff that he's carrying into this relationship that pops up every once in a while, right? But he's worth the work. He's worth getting through it, waiting for him to see that you're safe, because it does feel like, again, you're star-crossed lovers in this way. I'm going to say this to you, Matthew. This dishwashing woman around you, okay, showing me like the red and white checkers, or like a tablecloth or like rag or something like that. Just kitchen woman. She's very much all about her, and this is funny because this is your ancestor Matthew saying she made an accident happen. So that the meeting of whatever that you guys met, it was like accidental. Would you say it was accidental?
Yeah.
It feels right. It's new, it feels right. Now, I am very much a big believer in conventional therapy for the people that it works for. Some people aren't. Some people, it's not going to work for just because it's not for them. But I see my therapist every couple of weeks. It's interesting, I'm proud of that, because what I see that process as, I see therapy as the same way of going to the gym for my body. If I work on my body, I'm working on my mind. Okay, and it's just things that happen to me and things that I deal with that I have to work through. If I can work through it, I become the best husband for my husband. I become the best father for my son. And that's how I see that process, working through my stuff so I can be the best and strongest person possible. So I take a lot of pride in that. That might be something that you want to consider. If it's not, I want you to consider writing it out. Just writing it out on a piece of paper, writing the stuff that you want to get out of you, whatever pain or trauma that those prior experiences gave you, and go read it out into the full moon and burn it. Okay? There's a way to get it out of you, because here's a funny thing. I don't know if you've realized this. I do think that you've realized this, but I don't think you want to lose Claire. I think that this is like a lifer thing here. You know, you guys feel very like 2 peas on a pod, salt and pepper, peanut butter and jelly. It just feels like that. But I do think, Matthew, that you understand that there are some things in you that crop up every once in a while. Fears, worries, pains, traumas, that sort of stuff. You gotta get it out. You can't keep it in. How you get it out is your choice. And it's super important that you realize that. It's your choice. It's just something that you have to do. It could be with somebody's help, it could be not, it could be by yourself. But I want you to get it out. And then as you're getting that stuff out, you're making more room to bring Claire in closer. Okay. Now, when I say Claire in closer, not like cohabitate yet. Okay. But think of what you could do for the housing market. You know what I mean? That's where it is the natural progression about this, right? It does feel like, again, I know probably, not overstepping my boundaries, I'm not even going to say that. This is the stuff that they want you to hear. This is very much like magical stuff happens. When I met Isaac, it was very magical. It was like that stuff does happen for some people. This stuff here, very magical, very meant to be. Now, Claire, when you're not listening to your spirits, your anxiety goes up. So I want to tell you something about what happens to me. And I have personal experience with this. I will feel like I have to do something that completely goes against the grain. Like, oh my God, I feel like I have to do this thing. I don't want to do this thing, but I feel like I have to. And I will feel the pressure. And I will feel the pressure. And I kind of learned how to get through this. So I like lean into those things that I'm receiving. It's funny because the therapy thing was one of those things. One of the things that messes with me, and I'm going to be very vulnerable in front of people here, to do this, to do what I do in front of hundreds of people, that's scary. It's scary. And it can mess with a person's mind. And one of the reasons why I wanted to go to a therapist was because I didn't want to become this overinflated, ego person. Like, oh, I'm the best. And, I see other people that happens to. I know that, I'm going to have a lot of people looking at me, and I don't want to become the guy that just thinks I'm shit. Do you get that? So that's what therapy kind of really helps me. So just keep that, just try to keep ego, and try to keep all that. That's one of the reasons. Now, I listened to that message. I have not listened to other messages. And this is something that I want everybody in this room to know, that you will get messages from your spirits that you should do a certain thing or stop doing a certain thing, and you'll feel like, I can't breathe, I had anxiety. I'm just out of sorts. And then as soon as you start, decide to do it, you can breathe again. Because it's taking the pressure off of you. Our loving spirits will apply pressure to us to get us to move in a certain direction. And we move in a certain direction, and then the pressure comes off. That's what happens. So when you're not listening to your spirits, then your anxiety goes up. Okay? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know which ones.
Oh, so okay. Very well.
I don't trust.
Okay.
I don't trust my spirits. I do talk to me all the time, but I worry it's and I worry about that.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask you to speak up a little bit so everybody can hear in this room. So you're saying that you don't trust what you're getting for information. Okay, that's a tough one because what is intuition, what is paranoia, right? Okay, so the funny thing is like what you're getting, it doesn't feel like anything's gonna be bad if you listen to them. You're not gonna hurt anybody, nothing's wrong that's gonna happen. But this is something that I would tell somebody else that's going through the same thing. Divination, like using cards, using tarot cards, using oracle cards, using runes, that sort of thing. That thing right there is going to help you to verify what you're getting for information. So like, you do that now? It's pretty perfect. So that's going to be just useful for everybody here. You know, the two things, like a lot of people, I get questions from a lot of people, how do I increase this? Like I feel like I have it, but how do I hone it? How do I make it better? The two things that helped me, ancestor work, okay? Okay, and then divination. Like for me, it was the runes. You know what the runes are? Yeah, I wrote a book. There's a book out there. You get the book. But to have a steady divination process and ancestor work, you're going to really increase this because what they want for you is they want the best. And I think what they're saying to me is that, and again, this is you have real like witchy women, like a real strong witchy women. And what they're saying, I say witchy, you know what I mean, powerful, intuitive, that make things happen, forceful, okay? They're the ones that help bring you guys together. And in the same way, it's interesting, in the same way you would have brought in trauma and stuff from other relationships and all of that, you have a deeper sense of faith. You do, because I think you were picking up on the weirdness of this happening. Where this guy, Matthew, was just like, this guy's still stuck. You know, the too good to be true thing? This guy might be thinking it's still in that place. It's not. This is like star-crossed. And I don't lean into that like movie stuff too much, but this is very much like you guys are walking through a movie. Now, Matthew, one of these things is important for you to know. You are supposed to be happy for the rest of your life. Like you are. You're supposed to be happy for the rest of your life. Now, the funny thing about you two, and I hope you appreciate this, Matthew, not only is she a great girlfriend, a great partner, whatever term like you want to use at this point in your time there, she's also a great friend. And what I mean by that is you guys can go have adventures. You guys go have fun.
Yeah, we came here.
Well, I mean, yes. Yeah, this is like good adventure. Another adventure, another fun, right? Another fun. It's a funny thing, because now they're showing me like campers. Like a little RV, a little like camper. You guys would be perfect. Like, I don't know what that is. Go camping. You have a camper?
We have gone camping.
You have gone camping, okay. So there's a whole lot of people that get into relationships because they feel like they need to be in a relationship, but they miss the friend piece. Like that guy back there, he's my husband, he's my best friend. We have adventures and fun and all of that stuff. We're just going all over the place. This is something that she's going to bring to you. But here's something that I want to give you, Matthew, because again, it's just like, you know, you're trepidatious. You're like putting your foot in the water. You know, you're still going through it from that place of being careful. I want to just give you the full blessings and jump right in. The reason being is that, well, I want to illustrate why. This is important. We only have so much time. We only have so much time. I think everybody here has heard that expression, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? Okay, so I'm going to illustrate to you, the road to hell, road to suffering, for me is paved with numbers. Paved with numbers. I'm going to give you an example, it's coming right up. I love Halloween. I love everything about Halloween. I'm 44 years old. If I'm blessed to live till I'm 84, I have 40 more Halloweens left. And you start cranking out numbers like that, you're going to be like, whoa. So again, you have a certain amount of Christmases, a certain amount of birthdays. They're showing me 4th of July, so you must love setting off fireworks. You do? Yeah. So you only have a certain amount of 4th of July left, right? So this is why there's a funny message, man. Read the goddamn writing on the wall. Right? The only way she's going to go anywhere is if you want her to. this doesn't really feel like star-crossed, like destined very much, and I need you guys to know it's important to with the program, it feels like Claire understands this, and she's like, yeah, I got some shit carrying into this, I got some trauma, I got some pain, but I see this guy, and I want to be with him. Matthew, your trepidation makes sense, it does, but it's a funny thing, there's nothing that when you set your mind to it, you could get around it, over it, or through it. You know that, right? Okay, your trepidation here is just another thing that you gotta get around, over, and through before you get to the end of your life and you wish you'd done it sooner. Okay? Here's a funny thing, Matthew. Do you have a sister? Okay. She's met Claire? She likes Claire? Yeah, that's all I need to tell you. If your sister likes her, then that should just tell you everything that you need to know. So you respect your sister's opinion? Yeah. What I'm getting is if your sister likes her, that's all you need to know. If your sister didn't like her, you'd be in trouble, right? That would be all you would need to know that way. Okay. Thank you both. Interesting. Go have more Taco Tuesdays. You guys like tacos? Taco Tuesdays? Okay. Where do y'all live? Hardwick? Okay, so there's not a Mexican restaurant in Hardwick. Right? Okay. Why don't you maybe make your own tacos? Awesome. So there's a Taco Tuesday thing for you. All right, so Matthew, you're kind of like me, natural born entrepreneur. Going to do his own thing. Going to do his own thing. Here's something that I want you to consider. Take it with a grain of salt. A food truck. They're showing you why you want it. How do you do it like that? You wanted to do a food truck? Is he thinking about it? Is this like a taco truck?
That's awesome, no.
What? Yeah, taco. Fill in the blanks for me.
No, I'm just picturing him with a food truck, it'd be epic.
It'd be epic, yeah. It would be really well. You're doing your own thing. You're serving people. You call your own shots. You're your own boss. You make your own hours. You come and go as you please. That's going to be something that you need to lean into because it really feels like working for other people. You're going to have a hard time. Especially working for idiots. You know the pain of that?
The what?
Working for idiots, you know the pain of that?
Every day.
Yeah, okay. So, the only idiot I work for is myself.
You don't have yourself to blame.
Right. So, this is funny because apparently you've got the tools and the know-it-all, to know how to fix a food truck. You can make a food truck happen. You don't have to go far for help or do anything like that. You need to pick a taco truck. Okay? Taco Tuesday every day. Every day. Now, I'm going to actually, because I don't know if it's the microphone or the way Clay was handling it or what, but I have to go to these three women back here and the woman with the white collar. Yeah, the other woman with the white collar. Yes, you will go too. So you can try the power button and see if it. Oh, okay, yes, speak into a phone. What's your name? Sylvia. Okay. So here we go. We're going to talk about some religious folk. Okay. Now, what I'm getting is that you are. So this is something that is very important to the Holy Spirit. You are the keeper of memories. Okay? So you're the person that's got all the pictures, you're the person that's very serious about honoring the photo albums and the pictures, and you just have all the boxes and stuff.
Used to.
Used to where it go?
We had fire, total fire, so we lost our.
Okay. Every single one of them?
No, there were a few that were okay.
Oh, okay. Okay. The same message that I gave to Phil over there about writing a book. Okay? So keeper of memories, archivists, the people that kind of know, I know what Uncle Henry did when he was 12, that sort of thing. You just have a lot of information about the family, and that stuff is very sacred to you. You know this? Okay. Now, I want to ask you, your mom, okay, I don't know if this is, you're not wearing pearls, but sometimes pearls, when you get pearls on your ears, okay, sometimes pearls are a sign of a rosary, okay? You come from Catholics. No? You come from religious folk? Is your mom religious, Sylvia?
Spiritual, maybe not
Spiritual?
Yeah.
Okay. This might be a grandmother in that way, all right? I don't know if they were Catholic or what, but there's like, I've seen jewelry and pearls, and just a very nice sense of a person, okay? Just very spiritual in that way. She really wants you to like turn on the stories, turn on the books, turn on the stuff for your family, okay? So you keep her memories. But just because you don't have the pictures anymore doesn't mean that you're not able to find them. So here's what I mean by that. Who's this person to your right?
My daughter.
Your daughter, okay. So doesn't take psychic to realize that she might be a little bit more adept on the computer. So, okay? She can help you with Ancestry.com. Okay? Now, what's your daughter's name? Amy? Okay. So there's something about getting on Ancestry.com. I found so many pictures. Of people that I did not know, my parents didn't know, my grandmother didn't know, all sorts of pictures. There are people out there that have all sorts of pictures that you can find and just download them, okay? Now, all right. So I got a man energy coming in here, okay? And I'm going to describe him in a very trickster, playful way, like a joking way. This man, you know that idea of like grandpa, like pull my finger? That sort of energy, you know, it's like a stereotype, a cliche. Okay. So this person, so Amy, you're very precious to this man. Okay? Can I ask you, who else your dad? No. No, you're not your dad? Okay. So I want to ask you, like grandfather, uncle energy would be very playful, very jokey, like pull my finger, all of that. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. So Sylvia or Sylvie? Sylvia, would you know this person? Like Joker. He's showing me like he would have had problems with his teeth.
I can't think.
So Amy, grandfather that you would have lost. Were you ever up on somebody's lap? Both of them?
Yeah.
Okay. The funnier one is coming through. The more playful one. This guy's like a trickster. I mean, big trickster energy. Okay? You have brothers? Two. Okay. This guy's very proud of you. Okay? And I'm not saying that he's not proud of your brothers, but he's more proud of you than your brothers. This is the funny thing, success and accomplishment and achievement, it means so many different things to so many different people. Have you, I'm gonna put air quotes around this, have you made something of yourself? So Sylvia, she has, even if just being a mom is like, okay, that is the most sacred job in this world. You know that? Okay, you got kids to be proud of? Okay, so that's you making something of yourself, okay? I'm going to ask you, here's a funny thing. You got a son? Is he a little joker? A little trickster energy? Yeah. He's got this like grandfather energy around him. He's like, I don't want to say he's channeling it, but he's picking up a lot of this playful, and again, remember, this could be an in-law. So hold on, this is, again, say it for me, Amy.
There's a trickster on her side. That could be where it's coming from.
Let's find it on
Okay. So, did you know your father-in-law? Did you know your... Okay, so he's still with us?
Yeah.
Okay, so this man could be on the other side of the family. Trickster energy. Like pull my finger energy, that's what this man is going through with. You are raising somebody that's going to be very much the grandfather who's like pull my finger. Okay? Well, you can't do anything about it. You can just guide them to where they're going to go. Okay? And make sure they don't pull their finger. Okay? When they say pull their finger, don't pull their finger. It's just what you do. Okay. So Sylvia, a question for you. This is important. Did your mom make jams, jellies?
Yes.
Jams and jellies, okay. That's something that Amy has to do. Now, she's being really strong with this message. You have to do it. Okay, not like maybe you should think about it. No, she's like, just do it. Okay. Wow. So, do you like picking blueberries? Yeah, let's see blueberries. Now, you're like very much in the same boat as Christine over here. Christine, where you need silence. Yes, and there's something about being out in the woods or being out in the blueberry patch where you're just picking berries. Okay, it's very much blueberry jam, blueberry jelly. Tell me you have a blueberry patch.
No, well, no, not really, but we're just trying to start a couple of bushes of blueberries, but.
Okay. Yeah, get them going, because this is something that you can do now. You make food with love, your people are gonna eat that food with love, and that feels like something Sylvia, your mom did. Right? She got the berries, whether she bought them, picked them, or what have you, and she's making the jams and jellies, and she's making it with love for the people that she was made it for. This is super important for you and me, okay? Now, the great thing about doing canning like that is you can tell everybody to get out of your goddamn kitchen. Get out. You got boiling water, you got things that you don't want around. You need the silence too. You need the peace and quiet, okay? And on the flip side of that, can I ask you, are you an 80s kid?
Yeah, we're in the 70s, so yeah, very much 80s kid.
80s kid, okay. So the same way that you need silence, you also need to go to like a Def Leppard concert.
That was my first concert, actually.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Weirdly, it was mine too. It was mine too. Like 1993 in Stowe.
Yeah, we were there.
The Ugly Kid Joe opened for them.
Absolutely.
Okay. So again, that's what I'm getting for you. Really, like, I just booked myself a couple live concerts in January. Right? What is live music but vitamin joy? But here's the thing, you need to go. There are some friends of yours from like your 20s that you haven't talked to in a long time. But I need you to get that. It feels like two friends, both moms, both like need a break, all of that. You know who I'm talking about? It's interesting because I don't know if their name is similar to Sylvia or they start with an S. I don't get words, right? But I'm getting a big S sound. So I don't know if this is for you. Maybe you need to write Sylvia to that. But you need to get some live music in, please. Okay, you need to get some live music in, but you also need to balance that with the quiet. And this is what I firmly believe, because I'm a dad and a husband, but I know this about being a mom, a wife, girlfriend, fiance, whatever it is that you are. If you want to be the best wife, if you want to be the best mother in the world, you have to take ample time away from being those things. You can't be those things all the time. You got to take time away from that so you go back and not resenting everybody and angry at everybody and all of that. Funny, now I'm getting a basketball image. You play sports in school? Well,
Yes.
you play sports, okay. So I'm illustrating to you what happens here, right? They're giving me the symbol of sports that you and Jen over here would get along very well in the way that you need some physical activity in that way. Some endorphins. Are you local to here? Yeah, that's local-ish, but you know, what would be the meeting point, Woodsville? You know, something like that, I don't know. Get something, but you need some of that energy of like moving your body, competing in that way. So you want to throw it away in your life. So I don't know if this is your son or your husband or whoever it is, but you know, just want to throw. So there's a little bit of that energy of needing to get that stuff out of you before you bring it into your life, okay? I don't think that was touring anymore, but I want you to consider finding a concert to get to, okay? It's so weird that we would have the same concert back in the day. It was really cool that that happened. So in that same way, I just know that there's so much importance in being childlike versus childish. Like, I'm taking care of business, I'm working hard, I'm taking care of my family, but one of the things that I tell my kid all the time, you gotta work work hard, you gotta play hard. You can't work too hard, or just work hard, you can't play hard, or just play hard. You gotta work hard, you gotta play hard, you gotta balance it out. So both of those things are just balance. Thank you for coming, and what I want you to do is I want you to lean into helping Sylvia with the computer stuff. You know, get on Ancestry.com and all of that. But here's the funny thing, this funny man in spirit, this joker in spirit, really wants you to mess with her when you do it. You know, have a good time, joke with her, play with her, you know, get her riled up a little bit. You know, that's that energy of the trickster, right? Don't be too serious. Make sure that you're like having fun with her, because this is gonna be like, where do I click? What do I do? You know what I mean? That's no judgment, Sylvia. You know, you weren't raised with computers, so you're gonna need some guidance about that stuff. Maybe you're gonna be able to help her. Okay? I'm gonna go to the gentleman 2 rows back in the gray. Okay, so these 2 women here, like, there's 2 women here, one with the glasses, okay, and the man with the gray hair, right? What's your name, man?
Brian.
Brian, okay, and your name, man?
Yeah.
Tammy, okay. So Tammy, my first message is this for you. When I was talking to Claire about being like super intuitive, having a super connection to her spirits, the message to you is that you have this stuff too. Do you know this?
A little bit,
Yeah, you're just intuitive, you kind of know who's going to be on the phone before it rings, you're going to be able to tell the song on the radio before it plays. You know what I'm talking about. Okay. I'm not randomly just pulling shit out of thin air. This is the stuff that I know about you. Okay? Now I need you to listen to that, because this is why, you know, we have our 5 senses, we're very smart people, but we can get more information. It's like having help from friends who have a global perspective. I need you to really listen to this stuff, okay? Now, this is funny, how long have you and Brian been together?
4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years. So
A lot of stickers.
what's that?
It's a long story, but.
Okay. So are you together? What's your relationship?
Well, yeah, it works. We enjoy each other's company. He's a widow.
You're not brother and sister, right?
No.
Okay. That's what I'm going with this. Okay. But you guys have a relationship that's more than platonic.
Yes.
Okay, so that's where I'm going with this. Apparently, you have brought your intuition to bear in Brian's life. It's like giving him advice, helping him do things, helping him see things, you know, just kind of knowing things. This is funny, because I'm getting that you helped him to avoid tragedy. Do you know what I'm talking about? There's things that you would have said, hey, don't do this, maybe do this different, and he listened to you. Sometimes. I think he's listened to you at times where it was important. Now, Brian, here's an interesting thing for you, because when I'm looking at you and concentrating on your energy, I get the smell of ocean water. Like salt water, like big time. So this means that there's a person or an ancestor connected you come from the ocean.
Yeah, my grandmother and grandfather lived in Rhode Island.
Rhode Island, on the ocean?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you get to the ocean often? Did you grow up on the ocean?
No.
So you don't get to it often? I'm going to encourage you to take a trip. Okay? And if your grandparents were from Rhode Island, okay, that's who's around you right now. Okay? And one of the things that I just want to say to you is that these experiences, you know, I have several people who come to these experiences who have lost their children, hoping to hear from their children, and that doesn't happen in the readings because that's really tough. The second worst thing that would ever happen to a person is losing their spouse. So I would hope to be able to connect to her, but I'm not sure that that's appropriate for a group reading, okay? But what I will say is that just in the same way that Matthew and Claire feel really good together, you two feel really good together, okay? Now, for you, Claire, all right, your heart is golden. You got a golden heart, and you do your mama proud, you do your women proud. Because you really are just a giver, a giver, a giver. You have a conflict on the inside of you where you've learned over the years, right? You've learned how to exert your boundaries. You know, I'm not giving, I'm not solving your problems, I'm not giving. There is a tiny part of you And I think this is what all women get handed just from our culture. Like, I gotta do the most I can with the least. I gotta like exert myself, or I'm not feeling worthy. That you kind of flip the script on that, where you're like, I'm not gonna waste my energy for you. Your boundaries are really healthy and good. So you're keeping that golden heart really protected. Okay? And don't think, and Brian, I don't know you, but I don't think Brian's the guy that's gonna trample all over it. Okay? Now, interestingly enough, when you say it works, here I am getting like the camper image. Do you know what I mean? Like that adventure. So you guys have adventures? Do you even have camper? Do you like go camping or an RV or anything?
No, I go to the ocean, he stays home. I'm serious, I'm going on a once-in-a-lifetime trip. But we have, I don't know, we just take off and go cruising every night.
Yeah.
I want to take him places, and he's a little chicken sometimes.
Well, or maybe just used to being at home. You know, like my dad's the same way. My dad's a homebody. He likes being at home. Okay? Now, Brian, what I want you to know, man, this is important. Remember how I was talking to Matthew and Claire about doing the thing before we don't have a chance to do it? And this is a really important part of my message. This is something I want everybody here to take away. Everybody here has spirits that have carried on that they want to rest in peace. You have spirits, obviously, they want to rest in peace. Okay? How can they rest in peace if we're not at peace? Okay, and that's like vital to my message, because I'm not going to get up in front of everybody and be like, my spirits are at peace, our spirits are fine. I'm not going to say that. I'm not, because they're aware of us. My suffering is my grandmother's suffering. So I play whack-a-mole with everything that causes me to suffer. My emotional stuff, my mental stuff, my physical, my spiritual stuff. I will cut a person out of my life so hard if they're going to cause me drama or pain. Because my grandmother's not here to take care of her grandson, so I've got to do it. That's just the thing. Now, this is what happens, and this is something that everybody here needs to know. We're all going to pass away. When we do, go to the backside of that one-way mirror. When we pass away, there's a process that we go through. We look at our life. We look at the things we did. We look at the things we didn't do. And I can tell you, and this kind of upsets some people, there's no such place as hell. There's no lake of fire where we burn for all eternity. There's none. There's none of that. But I will say that there's suffering in the world of spirit. There is. And this is why every major world religion says don't take your own life because you're at hell. When you're not going to hell, what happens is when a person takes their own life, they're all poof out of existence. They go to the backside of that one-way mirror where they're intrinsically attached to the pain that their action caused. Every child that's ever passed away from an overdose goes to a place where they can see their parents wish they had screamed harder. My peace is my grandmother's peace. That was the same when she was alive. It's even deeper when she's passed. This is why I focus on my peace like it's my religion. So, with that being said, man, you got a certain amount of time in this world. You know, before you go right yonder, right? We're all going to get there. But one of those things, this is important, one of those things is making the most of the time we have left, whether it's 5 years, or 5 months, or 50 years. Making the most of it. Because this is what I've kind of realized about life. This is a vacation. Like life, Earth, being human, this is a temporary place where we're supposed to come to enjoy ourselves. But I'm going to bring it a step further from Matthew and Claire. This is a camping trip. Why do I call it a camping trip? Because when we get here, we're supposed to take care of it when we go camping, and we should leave it better than we found it. If we can't leave it better than we found it, we don't leave it worse. So Brian, right now, in your body, in your life, you're on a big camping trip. All of your people that you loved, they're in a great old yonder, they're home, they're watching you camp, okay? And here's an interesting thing, I want to give you a message, and this is important. I'm getting a lot of perfume, okay? So, the wife, the woman that you would have lost, did she wear a lot of perfume? Did she have a big smell about her, floral smell? Okay. That's an indication that she's coming through, okay? And the same way that Jen's grandfather loved how Jeanette kind of gives her shit, okay? This woman is very appreciative of this woman kind of giving her shit in all the ways. Because it's keeping you alive, it's giving you that piss and vinegar, it's giving you that stimulation, okay? And it's an old statement, but I do believe that if this woman was here, she would very much be friends with her. Now, the opposite of that was true, I would have to tell you all that. Okay? Now, what Miss Tammy, right? Okay, thank you for that super bad names. But what you know of his wife, the little that he shared with you about her, you know that you'd be friends with her. You know that she's just salt of the earth, heart of gold like you, and a golden heart. This is all blessings here. Okay? So Brian, one of the worst things that is going to go through us, our hearts and our minds, when we carry on our spouses leave, is that, what would they think? Are they upset? Are they, do I betray them? Maybe not. And the reason I'm going to say this is, you got any kids?
Yeah.
You do? How many kids you got? 5. Oh, it's a little veto. Well, it's okay. So my grandfather, I lived with 7 kids, right? So the reason that I bring this up, and this is like just a principle about love, if you had 10 kids, you'd be able to love them all, right? Love is just an infinite resource. Just very much an infinite resource. So in that way, when we go to the world of death, we understand life and death and all sorts of things way better than we understand it here, but you're not betraying her. And that's super important for you to walk away from. So this whole piece of you kind of like playing your cards close to your chest, not really participating in this the full way, and you give you all the blessings in the world, and the woman who smells like roses gives you all the blessings in the world too. Okay? So Tammy, this is a funny thing, you need to feed him better. Okay? So Brian, are you not eating right?
No.
You're not eating right, do you? Tammy, would you make any macaroni and cheese?
I'm so busy that I haven't been home for supper, and so he's been eating out a lot.
I'm the guy that lives at Cumberland Fire.
But he loves my cooking, I have to tell you. And I'm trying to make, you're getting it right on the, I can't keep food in the house when I cook because he eats all.
Okay. You make a mac and cheese
Yes.
with like a potato chip topping.
It's a great salad,
What is it?
it's Ritz crackers.
Okay. Can you make it too?
It's
And don't put this guy. But for real, all kidding aside, right? Make more food for him because I know you're busy, okay, and all of that. That's absolutely true. But I want you to really lean into the power of food made in love. Now, here's the thing. I want to ask you. Okay, so you need fresh flowers in your house. This is super important. So you have forests, you like flowers,
Well, they're plants.
they're plants. I'm talking about flowers.
Yes, I have flowers now.
You've had flowers in the house? Okay. You need fresh flowers you need a floral arrangement. Who do you have here with you? To your left?
It's actually Brian's daughter.
Ryan's daughter? Okay. What's your name?
Trisha.
Trisha? Okay. You're an artist. You have an artistic inclination.
Yes, you do.
Thank you, Tammy.
Pardon, I'm sorry.
No, thank you. No, thank you for that. Because again, this is why I love when people are here together, because we love to know themselves. There's just something that would be great for you to do, go to a floral shop, grab a bunch of flowers, and then make your own arrangements. Okay, don't just go buy arrangements, but make your own arrangements. I'm pretty sure that you wouldn't like to admit this, but I think you and Tammy have a lot in common. Okay, and what I want you to do is I want you to consider doing your own floral arrangements. Okay, one for you in your house where you're living, Tricia, and one in Tammy's house. It's just something about having that color and that life super. Trisha, you need a tattoo. Okay, got any?
Yeah, just got home.
Really, what's it coming? Ooh, Bigfoot?
Yeah.
For kids, that's for kids.
I put my kids on.
Mom and the kids.
So, okay, so it's not like the Bigfoot. Because it looks like the Sasquatch outline.
It is.
It is.
It is?
Kids and their names.
That's so cool. Keep getting the tattoos. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep getting them, okay? Are you a mini-me of your mother? Yeah, just absolutely like a mini-me of her. You come from her. You look like her, you act like her, you feel like her, all of that. Here's a message for you. I'm not gonna I'm gonna go to somebody else to kind of end this stuff up here. For you, she's indicating to me that she's coming to you in your dreams. Do you see her in your dreams? Okay, that's what happens. So I really need to let people know. And again, there's a specific time that people do come through to us in our dreams. We get up 3 a.m.-ish, go use the bathroom, we go back to sleep, and right there between dawn and that time, that's when they will come through. We have 2 types of dreams. The one type of dream that I call the washing machine dream. Like we're just washing out all this stuff that we would have picked up over the course of the day or wanted to kind of exercise it. And then we have spirit visitations, okay? Whatever you've got going on in your life, she's so proud of you, okay? And ultimately, before Tammy showed up, you were taking care of your dad. You know this, right? Okay. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself, because when you are, you're taking care of her daughter. You see how vital that is? Okay, awesome. Now you're going to go over here to the one of the best. Okay? Yes. Yes, there's 2 vests here. Oh my gosh. The one right on the edge and the vest. Okay. Can I get your name, please?
Megan.
All right, so Megan. Okay. So you're going to be the person I am the evening with. And this is super important because here's some wisdom for you. Okay. You got a heart of a therapist. Okay? A heart of a counselor. Can I ask you, are you a therapist, counselor?
No, I'm a nurse aide.
A heart of a healer, right? And you can't be a nurse's aide without giving up that part of you. Now, what is super important about this is, just in the same way that I was talking about Christians, that there's 2 types of Christians, right? Well, you have 2 types of nurses. And if you're going to be a nurse, you're going to find this out. I think anybody in the medical field here will know what I'm talking about. You're going to have people who are in it because they have the heart for it. They want to make a difference. They want to heal. And then you have people that are just going to go in and treat their clients and their patients like a cow, and they're just going to collect a paycheck. They're just going to go in, punch the clock, go in, do their thing with their heart and soul, and they're going to walk out. Now, interesting, being a nurse's aide, you haven't gotten too much up into the tree of nursing, okay? Now, if you're looking at something different, again, I'm going to do this for you, you have a way with kids, okay? So it could be pediatric nursing, it could be a counselor or a child psychologist, something like that, okay? Are you drawn to kids in this way? Do you just have a natural way with kids?
I don't know. I have my own kids that I love.
That's a yes. That's a yes. Okay.
I do. I especially love babies.
Especially with babies. Okay. So think of maybe gearing towards pediatrics, right? And imagine, again, with this heart of a counselor, heart of a therapist that you have, think about how many parents need help when they have newborns. It's not like you're helping the newborns, but you're helping the parents of the newborns, even just being a guide in that way. Now, when you have this heart, you have to be careful, okay? Because it's going to get walked all over, trampled all over. So this is the idea that you have to maintain boundaries, boundaries. And I know it's kind of like a pop psychology key word here, but I want to illustrate something with you. I'm all about the rose, right? Rose shoes and rose and all that. That to me, from Spirit, is the sign of ultimate love, grace, and compassion. But the rose without the thorn is trampled on. Grace, compassion, empathy, love. Without boundaries, that's self-sabotage. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. Now, remember how I talked about at the very beginning of this, that I was going to give everybody the secret to life. Okay? That's what I'm going to give here to you. That's what I'm going to give to everybody here. Okay? Now, what I do, for people who've seen me before, they're going to know this process, and this is part of the secret work that I'm supposed to do with spirit. Okay? This is super important. So, I really wish Matthew would get here, because he needs to hear this. But you're going to bring it back to him, okay? You're going to bring this to him. He's going to probably walk in while I'm doing this. Now, what I need you to do, Megan, right? Yeah. Okay, so Megan, I'm going to ask you to set up 4 questions. Okay? And as I ask you these questions, you're going to answer them on the inside. And as I ask you these questions, I'm actually asking everybody these questions. Okay? Super important that you answer them as honestly as possible, and you don't have to answer them out loud, so you can answer them as honestly as possible. Okay? So the first question that I have is the one that I call the low-hanging fruit. Okay, low-hanging fruit. Everybody in this room, born in a world that says maybe she's born with it, maybe it's Maybelline. Okay, now I'm setting this up. So the low-hanging fruit is this, Megan. This is what I want you to do. Come on, Matthew, get in here, man. I talked about you. Okay, so Matthew, just so you can catch up what I'm doing here, is I promised everybody at the beginning of this event that I bring them to secret to life. Peace, strength, courage, self-respect. Okay? And I'm working with Megan back here, but I'm going to ask Megan some questions, and I'm asking anybody these questions. Okay? Super important. So the low-hanging fruit is this. I want you to put into your mind the physical, cosmetic part of yourself that bothers you most. Everybody in this room has got something that they don't like about their body, face, weight, skin, something like that. I want everybody in this room to put into their mind the physical, cosmetic part of themselves that they dislike the most. You got it? Okay. I want you to build an old North Country fence down the middle of your mind. Okay? And on the other side of that fence, what I want you to do is I want you to put there what you would tell a daughter, a sister, a best friend if they felt that way about that part of themselves. It's different. Vastly different, yeah. I think everybody in this room is saying that there might be some unicorns in this room who are like, oh, I'm perfect, I mean, I completely get it. But pretty much everybody in this room, I found everybody has something they dislike about themselves, but they would not want anybody that they loved to tell themselves that thing. Got it? Okay. Remember, these questions get increasingly intense. The next question is this. I want you to put into your mind your biggest shame, regret, or guilt. Everybody in this room, pick a shame, regret, or guilt, and put it in your mind. Got it? No. Aren't you lucky? You're going to have something, right?
I try to do the best I can every day.
I know. But we're all going to have something. You don't have anything that you regret.
Yeah, of course I do.
Okay, you got it? Yeah. Okay. On the other side of that fence, what I want you to put there is what you would tell a daughter, sister, best friend if they felt that way about that circumstance. Different than what you're telling yourself, right? Yeah. Okay. The other question is this. I want you to put into your mind your biggest fear. Something that you're frightened of, something that scares you. You got it? On the other side of that fence, I want you to put there, you see where I'm going with this? I want you to put there what you would tell a daughter, a sister, or a best friend. Got it? Okay. Everybody in this room can play compare, contrast, and everybody in this room is telling themselves stories that they would never want the person that they love to tell themselves. That's what we do. That's what we're trained to do. Okay. Peace comes from this. What I just showed you is you have a part of you on the inside that knows the truth. It does know the truth. You do. Everybody in this room has a piece on them that knows the truth. And this is where it comes from. So the horse and rider that I was talking about in the beginning, horse and spirit, the spirit made of love, comes from love, made of love. That spirit that everybody walks into this world with has what I call the inner blueprint. This is what I truly believe. That's made of love. We're taught in this world that love is what makes us stupid and vulnerable and weak, and we're taught in this world that love is just a simple emotion that we don't know how to use appropriately, and people use it against us. I disagree. Love in this room, everybody who has love, my love, my husband's love, everybody who has love in this room, that is the greatest force that they have access to, and I'm going to illustrate it to you like this. Here's a sterling example of this, Megan. When you have to carry a burden for somebody that you love, you become the strongest you could ever be. When you have to solve a problem for somebody you love, you become the smartest that you could ever be. You see that? That is not a simple emotion. That is the greatest force that you have access to. Love is your greatest source of strength and wisdom. Now, that's where peace comes in, because if you can tell yourself and get that conversation under control on the inside, around your body, cosmetic stuff, your face, your weight, all that weird stuff that you've suffered from, the regret, shame, guilt, the fear, we all have access to the truth on the inside of us, and if we can tell ourselves what we would want to tell somebody else, look at how much peace we get. Strength comes from this. You know Mark Zuckerberg, the Facebook guy?
I know his name.
You know his name, okay. If you ever see him, you're always going to see him in jeans and a gray t-shirt. You know why he does that? He does not want at all, to take energy to figure out his outfit for the day. Because he understands we only have a certain amount of emotional and mental capital to spend on any given day. The science of willpower, people falling off the wagon, they fall off the wagon around 4 o'clock in the afternoon because they've used up all their willpower, they've used up all their decision-making abilities. Okay, so if we can get to a place where we're not spinning the plates on the inside, we get our strength back for the battles that we don't have a choice about. This is your courage. You have courage on the inside. You look at what you would tell somebody else that you can tell yourself. The human creature starts to get programmed at the age of 2 from everything that it's exposed to. That's what happens. But we're all talking to ourselves. We're like a computer that's constantly uploading and downloading. We're all listening to ourselves, and we can control that conversation. That's where peace comes from, that's where strength comes from, and that's where courage comes from. I've got one more question for you, and it's a doozy. It's the hardest one out of the whole thing. So I'm going to ask you this question, I'm going to ask everybody in this room this question, and I want you to grab the first thing that comes to your mind. Megan and everybody in this room, right now, what's the biggest problem in your life? You got it? Okay, you want peace around that thing? You do, right? What would you tell your kid to do with it? What? You don't have to say it out loud, but do you see where I'm going with this?
Same thing I would tell myself.
Exactly. So here's what I invite you to do. Go home, after you look at that roll of paper towels, and go, that's a miracle, right? What I want you to do is everybody in this building who wants peace is going to go home, take a blank sheet of paper, draw a line down the middle. On the left-hand side, they write down the biggest problems in their life. You like making lists? What you do, on the left-hand side, you write down the biggest stuff that's bothering you. On the right-hand side, you write down what you would tell a kid to do. The secret to life is this: what would I tell my kid? When you ask yourself that question, whether you have a child or not, the answer that you're getting is coming from